We are in St. Anthony in Fremont County with...
Rayan Scott.
Nicole Ward.
And have you guys noticed any changes in the climate over the course of your lifetime?
Yes.
Yes, most definitely.
Like what?
We have had a lot of years of not as much snowfall from from when I was a kid to now as an adult. So I would say less moisture. And then also the temperatures during the summer seem to be warmer than, I mean, they've always been in the 90s, but it seems like we get a lot more high temperature days during the summer than we used to.
Anything to add on that?
No, I would disagree. I was just going to say about the winters have changed big time as far as snowfall and stuff like that. And the amount. Yeah. When I was younger, there was lots more snow compared to now. Now we hardly get any. This year was like the exception to the rule. But actually, I would think this year would be a typical year in the past.
Yeah, I would agree with that. What we received this year was more typical of previous, probably 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Hey, get out of the microphone.
How has that affected y'all personally?
Personally,
well, less snow in the winter is good. Not really. It's not. No. As far as like me personally, I just think it impacts our county as far as like the water. So like last year was a real big issue with water and with irrigation. People were really worried
about
and
water
worried. Yeah.
Last summer, and crops getting enough water and the irrigation, like she said. And I have heard, I haven't actually done any studies, but I've heard that before this last year of snowfall and our water table was a lot lower than what it has been in like 50 years, in decades. And so, yeah, so personally, I don't farm, I don't worry about crops or that kind of thing, but I do know, or irrigation, but I do know, farmers in the area that do. So, and they worry about that, having enough water.
When did you first learn about climate change?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Probably in 99, 2000, maybe, when with Al Gore. Does that seem like...
Yeah, that time period.
So, I mean, I'd heard of it before. I feel like we talked about it in my science classes in high school, but I would say probably the really big influence was when Al Gore started making a public appearance and talking about it.
How has your thinking about climate change changed since then?
It fluctuates. I definitely think that there are effects that humans cause change to the ozone and to the climate in general, but I also feel like we have cycles of hot and cold. If you go back millions of years through the history of the earth, we have cycles of hot and cold, and some days I'm like, yeah, humans are the problem, and then some days I'm like, no, it's just the natural way of the earth, so it changes.
What about you?
Yeah, I feel like she talked about that we just have those natural cycles of the temperature changes and stuff like that, but I think that it's impacted more now by the humans and by the things that we do. So what would be typical changes, the fluctuations, is just enhanced more because of our interventions and the things that we're doing. So that's what I feel like. I feel like there's a little more impact on what is a natural occurring thing. We impact it more.
What do you think we can do about climate change?
spread the word. The more people who know, the more they're likely to take action and try to make
What does action look
changes.
like?
Just personal changes in your own life. So little things like recycling, or choosing to walk or bike to work if that's an option. Choosing to go paperless. So, no more paper bank statements, go paperless. I think just the little things, reusable shopping bags. I'm kind of out of ideas there.
No, that's great. What about you?
I would do the similar things. I do the reusable shopping bags. I even do biodegradable poop bags for my dogs instead of doing the regular plastic ones. I have ones that break down. So, and I think, like she said, is education. I think the more people that are aware and just educated to do small things can have a big impact. Because if everybody's doing a small thing, then it's going to lead to bigger things.
Do you guys think there's any role for the government in climate change besides just education?
That's a good one. Maybe incentives for
companies and stuff like that to minimize their use of plastics or chemicals.
I feel like if the government gets involved and says you have to do this or it's illegal to do that, you're going to have a lot more fight back and resistance to that change. Whereas if there's an incentive, it's like the catch more flies with honey than with vinegar kind of a thing. So yeah, incentives. I know we were approached a few years ago about putting solar on our home, and there would have been a government incentive, and unfortunately at the time we couldn't afford that. But it's something I'm looking forward to doing in the future, getting some solar power or solar panels on the home, so that there's just an alternative energy source there.
Sweet. Yeah, what about fire season and stuff like that? Have you guys noticed more fires in recent years?
So yes, because of our change in water level, we've had a lot more risk of wildfire. And then I just recently learned that about an invasive species on the sagebrush, in the sagebrush grassland, that because of the rapid growth, is it cheatgrass? Cheatgrass. Its rapid growth and then death makes the sagebrush more susceptible to wildfire. And so that was interesting to me. I'm like, well, yeah, we've got an invasive species, and that's causing increased acres of ground being burned. So
how's that affected y'all?
Makes it smoky. Well, I have allergies and people that have asthma and stuff like that. So it really affects, health-wise, it affects me when we have those wildfires, health-wise, I would say. But then also, recreation-wise, I like to go up to Island Park and places like that. So when you have those wildfires, you've decimated an area for several years before it comes back. So
right, definitely.
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was like, I don't know. But yeah, I have the same thing with the smoke from the wildfires. It gives me headaches and allergies, and yeah, so mostly it's that smoke that causes problems.
Sweet. Well, do you guys have anything to add about climate change or anything on the topic?
no, I think
I don't know of anything else.
Do you have anything to say? Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it.